There is no basis for an inspector's interpretation of the National Electrical Code regarding the use of plastic snap rings with Romex. The inspector is incorrect. National Electrical Code Section 314.17c addresses raceways entering boxes and enclosures, stating that electrical metallic tubing, flexible metal conduit, non-metallic raceways, rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, and Type MC cable shall be secured to boxes and enclosures. Plastic snap rings fall under the broad definition of non-metallic raceways. However, whether a snap ring is used or not, the cable must be secured with a staple within 8 inches of the box or enclosure to be considered secured. National Electrical Code Section 334.30 covers stapling. Section B addresses cables and raceways on exterior surfaces, stating that non-metallic sheathed cable shall be stapled within 6 inches of every box or other support. Section C addresses non-metallic sheathed cable in concealed spaces, stating that non-metallic sheathed cable shall be secured within 12 inches of every box or other support. National Electrical Code Section 300.9 discusses securing and supporting, stating in section that metal raceways, non-metallic raceways, cables, and conductors shall be supported and secured by approved means within or on buildings and on poles. Section B addresses cable trays, which shall be supported as required for other raceways. An inspector may confuse the use of plastic snap rings with the use of plastic protective covering, like split conduit, of a non-metallic cable. National Electrical Code Section 334.30d addresses protective covering. Where cables are run through bored holes in studs, joists, or similar members, holes shall be provided with a steel plate installed behind the cable to protect the cable from penetration by nails or screws. There is an exception where listed non-metallic raceways, protective covering, or grommets are installed. The key takeaways here are firstly, that plastic snap rings are generally acceptable for use with Romex when entering electrical boxes and enclosures falling under the definition of non-metallic raceways. Secondly, the National Electrical Code emphasizes the importance of securing the cable itself within a specified distance of the box, typically 6 inches for exterior surfaces and 12 inches for concealed spaces, regardless of whether a snap ring is used. Thirdly, the use of plastic protective coverings, like split conduit, has specific restrictions under the National Electrical Code, mainly concerning protecting the cable from physical damage, and this should not be confused with the function of a snap ring. Ultimately, you must consult the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and local amendments for the most accurate and up-to-date information. Electrical codes can be complex, and interpretations may vary depending on the jurisdiction. It is important to understand the distinction between securing the cable, which is mandatory, and using additional protective measures, which may or may not be required or permitted based on specific circumstances and the type of materials used. The requirement to secure the cable within a certain distance of the box, typically using staples, is a fundamental principle to prevent strain on the connections inside the box and to ensure the long-term reliability and safety of the electrical system. This is also mentioned in the National Electrical Code. The use of snap rings, on the other hand, is more about providing a smooth and protected entry point for the cable into the box, preventing abrasion and potential damage to the cable insulation. The code distinguishes between different types of wiring methods and their specific requirements for support and protection. For non-metallic sheathed cable, like Romex, the code emphasizes the importance of securing the cable to prevent it from being pulled or damaged. This is typically achieved by stapling the cable to structural members, such as studs or joists, within the specified distances of boxes and other termination points. The code also addresses the use of raceways, which are enclosed channels designed to hold wires or cables. Raceways provide additional protection for the conductors and can be made of metal or non-metallic materials. When raceways are used to enter boxes or enclosures, they must be securely fastened to the box to maintain electrical continuity and provide mechanical support. Furthermore, the code recognizes the use of various types of fittings and connectors for joining raceways and cables to boxes and enclosures. These fittings must be listed and approved for the specific application and wiring method being used. They must also provide a secure and reliable connection that will not loosen or fail over time. In addition to the requirements for support and protection, the code also addresses the proper installation of conductors inside boxes and enclosures. Conductors must be properly sized for the intended load and must be insulated to prevent electrical shock and short circuits. The code also specifies the minimum amount of free conductor length that must be left inside the box to allow for future modifications or repairs. The code also includes requirements for grounding and bonding, which are essential for ensuring electrical safety. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault currents to flow back to the source, allowing overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers or fuses, to trip and de-energize the circuit. Bonding is the process of connecting all metal parts of the electrical system together to create a common ground reference. This helps to prevent voltage differences between metal parts, which could create a shock hazard. Lastly, the code is constantly evolving to keep pace with new technologies and changing safety concerns. It is essential to stay up to date on the latest code requirements and to consult with qualified electrical professionals when designing or installing your electrical systems. Always ensure that all electrical work is performed by licensed and insured contractors who are familiar with the code and can ensure that the installation is safe and compliant.